God's Word Express.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're plunging into what the source calls Unleashing Miracles, Part 6.
Right.
We're looking at Jesus' authority over storms and spirits, specifically in Mark chapters 4 and 5.
And the scene is set on the Sea of Galilee. Jesus and the disciples were crossing over, but it's not just a casual trip. They're heading specifically toward the pagan territory of Gadara.
A very deliberate mission.
Very. And because of that, it immediately kicks up some intense opposition.
Okay, so let's unpack this storm. The source material is really clear that this was not a normal weather event.
Not at all. It points to the Greek word ginomai. It means it just happened. Suddenly, with no warning signs, which is why it caught even the experienced fishermen by surprise.
But there's more to it linguistically, right? It's the word used for how the waves were hitting the boat.
Exactly. That's where the analysis gets fascinating. The term is epibalo.
And that means?
Well, it's a word you'd normally use for an intentional human action, like throwing a ball or casting a net.
So it's not just waves were splashing, it's more like they were being cast into the boat.
Precisely. It suggests this wasn't random nature. It was an act of spiritual warfare, a deliberate attempt to sink the boat and the mission.
Which is so interesting because the disciples, they're just reacting to the symptom. They're bailing water, they're panicking.
They're bailing the boat, yes. But Jesus wakes up and he doesn't help them bail. He goes straight to the root cause.
He speaks to the wind.
He commands the wind first, the source of the chaos, and then the waves. And that's a huge lesson for you, We often spend our lives bailing the boat, dealing with financial issues, health problems.
Just managing the symptoms?
Right. But sometimes you have to ask, what's the unseen source? What's the wind that needs to be addressed?
Okay, so this level of opposition, it all points to their destination. Why was Gadara so important? Why such a fight to stop them from getting there?
Because Gadara was incredibly strategic. It was part of the Decapolis, a major Hellenistic center. It was even called the City of Scholars.
A center of influence.
A hub for philosophers, writers, the thought leaders of that region. The enemy knew that if Jesus made an impact there, the influence would ripple out everywhere. The attack matched the stakes.
And that just sets up this incredible contrast. They finally arrive at this famous City of Scholars, and the first person they meet is this demoniac.
A man living among the tombs, a place of, death and chaos, the polar opposite of the city's intellectual reputation.
And the source describes his condition as just complete chaos.
Yeah.
Superhuman strength, breaking iron chains.
The demon's name was Legion, which implies at least 6,000 of them. But, and this is a critical detail, the man himself ran to worship Jesus.
So the spirit didn't have 100% control.
No. There was still a spark of the man's true self in there, reaching out.
So what's the takeaway here? The real display of power is when Jesus simply commands the demons to leave. The source says this authority is like a military command.
Exactly. It's not something you get from studying more. It's about trust. It's about being someone the general God can rely on, like a loyal soldier who can be trusted with a direct order.
And the result of that authority is so clear. The man is found clothed, sitting, and in his right mind.
The complete reversal of chaos.
Yeah.
Demonic influence brings confusion and nakedness. God's presence brings sanity, dignity, and order.
Which brings us to a final thought for you to consider. One of the sources tells the story about a man who gave his last $50 in an offering. Total trust.
Right.
He gets back to his car, and it's just miraculously full of groceries.
And that's it, isn't it? That act of radical trust. Giving God the key to your last resource. That is the single thing that unlocks his provision and authority over your life. It turns chaos into order.
Today, we'll sign off here. God bless you.